Welcome to another episode of Speaker Jim. In this episode, we're going to be looking at something that may not occur all that often, but it's very important. And that's when you're giving a presentation to an audience at which you're going to be introduced. Now, this throws a lot of people if you've never gone through this before. And you may want to say, oh, well, you'll tell the master of ceremonies or whoever, just make something up, or I don't need an introduction or whatever. Wrong. You do need an introduction, and you should not ask the master of ceremonies to develop it. They've got other problems. You need to write your own introduction. But of course, this can be a problem if you don't know what you're doing. So that's why we're doing this particular episode. There's two things that you want to accomplish in your introduction. One, establish your credibility. Tell your audience why it is that you are qualified to speak to them. And the second thing is you want to provide a springboard into your presentation so that you're not just starting cold, people are actually anticipating what you're going to say. And that's it. Those are the only two things that you want to do, and you want to keep it as short as possible because people came to hear you speak, not to hear your introduction. So don't have the introduction be any longer than it needs to be. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Not long ago, I was asked to speak to the Florida Speakers Association. Now, FSA is a chapter of the National Speakers Association. I've been a member of FSA for a number of years. This was a celebratory meeting. They were anticipating the future ahead of them. They wanted to hear me share some of my accumulated wisdom over the ages, I suppose. So they asked me if I could say a few words. I prepared an introduction for them. This is what I prepared, and then I'll tell you afterwards why I did it this way. This is, again, I didn't say this. This is what I gave the introducer, the president of the organization, to read. Jim Barber has a history. He's been speaking professionally for 43 years. He joined the Florida Speakers Association 33 years ago. And he has twice served as FSA's president. In all that time, he's learned a lot. Unfortunately, most of what he's learned is totally useless today. Things like how to unjam a carousel slide projector, how to search for a book using the Dewey Decimal System, and how to set the date and time in your VCR. But Jim says that there is one thing that he's learned that is as valid today as it was when he first learned it 30 years ago. And this morning, I'm hoping he'll tell us what that one thing is. End of introduction. That was it. Notice what I did there. I started with credibility. I kept it as short as possible, but I said that I've been speaking professionally for 43 years. I've been a member for 33 years. I've been president twice. You need to listen to me. Then I proceeded to say what I didn't know. I knew totally useless things. That was good. I kind of got the audience on my side with that point because they thought they were going to be bored hearing all these things maybe that they already knew. So I proceeded to tell them with my introduction the things that I knew that were totally useless, and they weren't going to hear that. But I said, there is one thing that I do know. And I'm hoping that, again, the introduction, the president said this, I'm hoping that he will share it with us this morning. And that was it. Now I've got people waiting to hear. They know I'm not going to tell them how to set the date and time on their VCR. I'm not going to tell them about the Dewey Decimal System. But I do have one thing that I think that they will find interesting. And so I hope that maybe they're sitting on the edges of their seat waiting to see what they're going to have. That is a decent introduction. Write your own introductions the same way. Establish your credibility, provide a springboard into your presentation. Do that, and you've got an introduction that will almost guarantee the success of your presentation. That's it for this episode of Speaker Jim. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Take care now.